This is one-on-one session with the Forum IAS founder and director Ayush Sir. In this session, students are asked questions to test their preparedness for the personality test. One-on-one sessions are not mock panel sessions.
Excuse me, come in, sir.
Please come in.
Good morning.
Good morning. Have a seat. So, Avinash, can you introduce yourself to me?
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Avinash V. I was born in Mumbai, Maharashtra. I was raised in Davengere, Karnataka. I have done my graduation in law from National Law School, Bangalore. Professionally, I have interned at various public and private organizations, including courts, law firm, and the Ministry of External Affairs.
Avinash, so a lot of people are saying that there is an inherent problem in the business model of social media. You have done some pretty good research on it. What is the criticism that there is an inherent flaw in the business model of social media itself?
So, two specific flaws come to my mind. One is it aims to monetize people's privacy. In the sense, what it sells is personal data of the people. Second is it creates an echo chamber effect. How when social media grows is based on people of similar views coming onto the platform, which creates an echo chamber, which can have a debilitating effect on a democratic society.
No, there is a criticism. Echo chamber is there that people with similar views, they come together. Let's take Google, for example. On Google, I find what I search. Therefore, there is some freedom of choice that I have. Social media doesn't let me search things. It presents to me things. So some critics argue that what it presents is what its business model is about, and there is a flaw. Can you throw some light on it?
In terms of advertising, there are limited regulations and who can or what can be advertised through social media. This has led to certain political parties or certain radical organizations leveraging social media to show people certain content. Secondly, because the person does not choose what to see and it's all based on an algorithm, we tend to see things that align with our views. And this is the broader point that I was making is in a democratic society, this tends to polarize the masses and can also be used for hate crime and hate speech and other such crimes.
Do you think we should go for what sort of regulation should we have for social media, or should we have some sort of unique identity on the internet? What is the way ahead?
Specifically for regulating the privacy aspect, I think certain rights of the people should be recognized in the sense that once a person leaves social media, how the data is treated, where the data is stored, informed consent while using or monetizing the social media are certain regulations that are required. However, in a larger sense, we see certain social media organizations getting that powerful, and we saw in the Russian-Ukraine crisis how they are being used as tools of state power, like Facebook withdrawing from Russia. Therefore, I think from a national perspective, also we must leverage our data sovereignty and ensure that our data does not fall into the wrong hands.
All right. So you talked about regulating the data. What other regulation? Is there a need for government regulating social media?
So definitely, it is my view that there is a need for regulating social media. However, some people do argue that in a democratic society, if the government is given the control of one's data and one's view, it might support the incumbent government or the incumbent political party in power. However, a more regulatory organization backed by law, which has certain degree of autonomy, if it were to regulate social media, I think that would create a level playing field for everyone.
Today, a majority of the people across the world get their news from social media instead of conventional print media or electronic media. This change is already happening because of the social media is there. Social media, however, does not want to be classified as a media house. They want to be an internet company, a technology company. They do not want to be labeled as a responsible media house. What is the reason?
So, social media's argument for not being labeled as a media house is that they do not select the viewers, they are just an intermediary. Now, being an intermediary, they do not post the content, neither do they select the content which the viewers themselves choose to view. And neither in their promotions nor in their advertisements, they claim to represent being a media house or someone who is perpetuating facts. I think based on these two terms, they are claiming to not be a media house.
But a media is always an intermediary, right? Media itself means intermediary, isn't it? That there is a news item and the media is what is bringing to you. If the social media and big tech companies are the ones that are delivering us the news, then they by all ways or for all practical purposes they become media. There is also a question which you have not touched upon, is some sort of taking responsibility. And so what is that? What critics say that media houses don't want to take up this, social media tech giants don't want to take up responsibility. What is that matter?
So yes, we do see social media organizations refusing to take up responsibility. And their argument is if they were to censor content, I think it would lead to more problems because then you will have political lobbies and all controlling what is shown in social media. A middle ground I see to adjust both these arguments is an independent oversight board, which Facebook has recently constituted to review the community guidelines. Furthermore, certain taglines as the first originator of news that the Indian government has rightfully demanded. If social media were to make these changes, then we can hold people accountable in terms of fake news if it were to cause any problems in the society. Rather than allowing the social media to regulate, this is what I see could be a better approach for the problem.
What street plays on social issues have you worked on?
So, on a diverse range of issues. For example, if the street play were to happen in a park with senior citizens, the street play would be on what the maintenance and welfare of senior citizens.
No, just tell me what are the various street on what social issues you have already done the street plays.
So abandonment of senior citizens, domestic violence, child marriage.
Is there any law in place in the country which forbids abandonment of senior citizens?
So there is the Maintenance and Welfare of Senior Citizens Act 2007. It not only prohibits abandonment of senior citizens and makes it a criminal offense, it also allows senior citizens to claw back any property that has been gifted or through a sale deed or written in the will to any of their heirs. It also mandates that all the legal heirs are responsible financially for the maintenance of the senior citizens.
All right. So you also like coffee brewing. What are the various types of coffees that are available in India?
So from the species varietal perspective, we grow two prominent varieties, Arabica and Robusta. Within these varieties, the Indian coffee is the Yemenis variety, which is got from Yemen. And this is predominantly an Arabica variety that is grown in India.
Which one is more dominant here, Arabica or Robusta?
So Arabica is more dominant.
Now, to reduce the cost, something is mixed in the coffee that we get instant coffee from. What is mixed?
So one is chicory. It's one of the mixtures. Certain times Arabica is mixed with Robusta because it's quite cheaper. And a blend is created of these three.
Chicory is what part of the plant?
So chicory is the leaf stem, the flower stem, or the roots of this of a flowering plant.
It is the flower stem or?
Flower stem and flower roots. Some chicories are made of the roots, some are made of the stem.
There is also a popular internet thing which says that certain kind of coffee made in some part of the world which is from the excreta of an animal. Can you tell me what am I talking about?
Kopi Luwak is the coffee. It is grown in the in the Southeast Asia. It is grown from the civet after the civet eats the particular beans and it's collected from its excreta. There is another prominent variety. It's called Black Ivory. It's also grown in Indonesia. It's from the excreta of elephants. And these are some of the most expensive coffees available in the world.
So what is it that a civet's excreta makes it better or of higher quality? What happens? What really happens here?
I think it's more of a marketing gimmick. However, one of the arguments given for promoting this particular variety is that the civet in the white chooses the best berries to eat, the most ripe and the best berries. So automatically you get, when it's fermented in its stomach, when it comes out, it is sold to be one of the good coffees. But currently, most of these coffees are force-fed to the civet, but just because of their value, and it's not sustainable. And such coffees are do not even taste that well.
Avinash, there is a constant criticism that judges select judges, right? Tell me 3 or 4 reforms in the judiciary that we need imminently.
So, in terms of judicial appointments,
Overall, in the judicial reforms.
so first, yes, the appointment. I think vacancies needs to be addressed, and that one of the ways is to have an independent body to appoint judges as fast as possible. The second is a more hybrid or e-courts, putting the e-courts, where I think we leverage technology and the learnings from the COVID time are taken to dispense faster justice. Third is mobile courts. The Gram Nyayalas Act allow for grassroots courts or Nyay Panchayats. I think the courts should go to these panchayat areas once a week or twice a week and resolve disputes there. Finally, in terms of finances, I think the district judiciaries under various state governments are not well financed. If a judicial financing body is created, I think infrastructure at the ground level can be created.
Why is it said that for protecting the independence of the judiciary, the Constitution has given the responsibility on the states? Is it correct?
In the terms of the state governments have been given the power.
States, the constituent states of India.
Yes, to an extent, yes, because Article 232 to 237 that deal with district judiciary and the lower judiciary, they come within the purview of the state governments.
No, the higher judiciary's independence, the Constitution has come up with a scheme such that the independence of higher judiciary, one of the entities for securing it is the states, various states of India. Why am I saying this?
So one of the reasons could be that the high courts, which come within the purview of the state government, some of the finances are charged on the state legislature. Secondly, in terms of the power in the federal setup, it is both vertically and horizontally divided. Now, horizontal division is the executive, legislature, and judiciary. The vertical division also acts as a counter check.
No, Avinash, that is not the case. I'll repeat my question. The independence of higher judiciary, in the constitutional arrangement of things, has also been entrusted to the states and not just the union. Obviously, the fear is from the union itself, right? The fear is from the union executive, the union legislature, right? That who would be threatened by the independence of judiciary, or who would want to infringe on the independence of judiciary? The other two institutions, the union executive and the union legislature. And to limit them, the constitutional arrangement of things provides for the states to secure and ensure or be the last guardian of the independence of the higher judiciary. Think and tell me how.
One of the provisions that come to mind is the Article 131 that allows for states to also approach the Supreme Court as an equal partner if any of the provisions of the Constitution were to be violated.
That is the other side of the story, Avinash. That is the corollary to this, that the integrity of the states or the what you could say, the power structure between the states and the union, that is entrusted to the Supreme Court. I'm talking about the other part. Independence of the Supreme Court is entrusted to the states. A system of checks and balances. Okay, I'll give you a hint. For judicial appointments, an Act of Parliament was brought. Which Act am I talking about? Appointments to the higher judiciary, an Act was.
1978, yes.
So, which Act was brought, which was held as null and void by the Supreme Court?
The National Judicial Appointments Commission.
Yes. Where was it passed?
So it was passed at the Parliament. Okay. One of the
and further, was it passed by the Parliament and then President signed it, or something else happened?
It was to be ratified by half of 50% of the states. So as per the Constitution, if any amendment to the Constitution infringes of the right of the Supreme Court or the High Court, it has to be ratified by over 50% of the states.
Yes, thank you. So why you did not say before?
So I apologize.
So Avinash, you're from Maharashtra.
I'm from Karnataka, but I was born in Maharashtra.
In Karnataka, we have had the hijab controversy. The High Court has come up with a ruling. What is your opinion on that? High Court has come up with a ruling. What is your opinion on that?
My opinion is that High Court was right in classifying hijab as not an essential practice of the religion because it's a cultural practice. High Court rightfully relied on the scriptures of the religion itself to point out that there is no punishment for not wearing it, and it has culturally evolved in the Middle East.
Is the High Court an expert in constitutional law and common law, or is it also an expert in religious laws?
Within the fundamental rights, certain rights too tend to clash with each other. Right to religion versus right to equality. This time, the Constitution in its wisdom has given the High Court the power to decide on these matters. And there has been an established set of precedents that only essential religious practices are the rights that supersede some of the other rights, such as right to equality. And very restricted meaning are to be given to religious practices for the organic development of an egalitarian society. Within this interpretation, the High Court is the right judicial wing to interpret the religious scriptures and what protection do they get within the Constitution.
All right. So you think that the High Court judgment is right?
Yes.
So it has said that it is not an essential religious practice.
Yes. So if I may, but the High Court has also allowed, in terms of Article 25, two rights are given: right to religion and right to freedom of conscience. The High Court identified that if someone were to wear hijab out of their own personal conscience, and they can lead with evidence that wearing hijab is their personal conscience.
No, but that has been ruled out. That has not been the case. It has said that it is no expression of personal conscience.
Yes, sir. But that is because that no one led evidence to prove that in that particular case it was an expression of personal conscience.
From what I have understood, the High Court has said that there is no proof to say that
Yes,
it is
sir.
an expression of one's personal conscience.
So if tomorrow someone were to believe that it's an expression of personal conscience, they can approach the High Court and get an exemption for the state government's order banning hijab in the government schools.
All right. Last question: why do you want to join civil services?
So I think the kind of leadership positions that one is thrust into within the civil services, that too in service of the country, I think it's a great honor and privilege. And especially the foreign service, which is my first preference, is something I believe I have been interested. It aligns with my interest and the job profile. Therefore, I want to join civil service.
Thank you. Your interview is over.
Thank you.